right, ladies, I'm super excited about this morning. As you guys can see, we have a little bit of a different setup because I don't get to just introduce one gal this morning. We have a whole panel of mamas coming on up here, but I will introduce Ashley. Ashley wears a lot of hats around here at Navigating Motherhood. She's been involved, how long have you been involved for? 11 years. I was going to say, when I started attending Navigating Motherhood like a decade ago, she was already here and in full swing. So thank you so much for joining us this morning, ladies.
Well, thank you very much, Lindsay. And, well, the weather says it all. It's almost summer, right?
I'm sweating.
And Rachel even said she's hot. But it is almost summer, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, is how we can make the most of this time that's ahead of us. Summertime, I know we live in California, the weather doesn't change too much, but it still has a different feel. There's still kind of this, once summer hits, just a little bit less busy, a little bit less hectic. And our goal today is just to share some ways that we can be intentional about the time, not let it go to waste, not let the summer go by and look back and say, oh, I let my kids spend too much time in front of the TV, or we didn't do this, or we didn't read this book, or whatever your intentions were. So our job here this morning and our goal is that you will walk away a little more equipped for summer and a little motivated to use this time wisely. We have our children, and for, what do we say, 18 summers, right? Then once they're school age, you've got them for 13 summers. So this is precious, precious time. And we just want to share some fun wisdom. But before we do, I want to introduce my panel that I have with me this morning. I'll let them introduce themselves, actually. We'll start with Chelsea.
Hello, I am Chelsea, and I am married to my husband, Kellen. We've been married for coming up on 10 years in June, and we have 3 little kids. So my oldest is my son, Bryce. He is 6. And then I have a 4-year-old daughter named Blake, and my youngest is Tristan, and he is 2. So we are still in the little stage, which is super fun, but that is my crew. And we do spend here a lot of time here at church, but when we're not here, we do love the beach. And we're not the beach, we love parks. And what I love about Southern California is there's a lot of parks that oversee the beach. So we like to find those ones in our spare time. But that is my family, and I'm excited to be here.
I'm Rachel Barnes. I have been married for 17 years, and we have an almost 15-year girl, freshman, and an 11-year-old boy, and a 6-year-old girl. This is the first year I have no children at home. It's so weird. So I'm a planner. My husband is spontaneous, so we always try to make that work. And we like to camp. We like to be outside. I might say we because it's probably more him, and I just honor that. We do indoor stuff like puzzles and games and board games. They're very competitive, and so it's character training right there. But I also work. I'm a pediatric nurse. I work nights. So you will just hear that I plan, because that's the only way I know that things are going to happen. And maybe not planning, but maybe just making a list and referring back to that list of like, is that possible today? Maybe not. So that's me.
Good morning. My name is Chien, and I'm married to Bobby. We've been married for 17 years this year, and 3 girls. We have 12, almost 13, and then 11, and then a 3-year-old. So I did have that little freedom for a short period of time, and then back to the little training and little hands and bodies. So we like to be outdoors. We do like the hiking because we are here in Aliso Woods. We like biking. I love water, so anytime at the beach, or we can go to the lake, walk around. Waterfalls, I love waterfalls. We do like crafting. The girls love using their hands, making stuff in the kitchen, baking, cooking. Sewing, I wish we could get back into more, but little kid, she loves, we like just doing little puzzles. And they like their homebodies too, so we like the indoor and the outdoors.
Your life is so different than mine. I have 3 boys, so it's always fun hearing Karen talk about her girl times. Well, in sitting down with these ladies, I had the pleasure of just preparing for this, and we just talked about how we have used our summers, how we want to use the summer to most benefit our families, to create those memories that we want everyone to cherish. And one thing we agreed upon is you need to be intentional with the time. You need to have a plan, but we also agreed it should be a loose plan. It shouldn't be this rigid, okay, at 8 a.m. we're doing this, and at 9 a.m. It should be loose and flexible. So how do we attain that? Well, I have a friend who every year she plans her bucket list, her summer bucket list, and she posts it on social media. We have a slide just as an example. But I love it because A, it's beautiful, and I feel like she could be the person at Trader Joe's that does the chalkboards. But B, I love the variety of things she lists on here. She has things that are, just fun, going and having ice cream for dinner. Or then she has things where she's going to bless other people, like having a sleepover at the grandparents' house, blessing grandparents. They always memorize a passage of scripture every year together as a family. And then you can just read. I mean, there's just all kinds of fun stuff on there, but everything has intention, and there's different areas of life that she hits every single summer, and that's what's always stuck out to me about that. And that's what we're going to kind of be doing today. We have 4 different areas that we're going to be focusing on today, and you have a note sheet. So as we go through those, you can categorize your notes under each of these categories and hopefully walk away with something that you can use with your own family. Don't feel pressure that you have to make a summer bucket list. This is just an example, but hopefully we can all walk away with something today. So with that being said, we're going to kind of talk about, summer in general. The kids, if you have school-age kids, are out of school. That's one big difference, right? They're home all the time. And kids, if you remember being a kid, summer was out, school's out, and that meant school's out, right? No school whatsoever. But if you talk to teachers, or if you are a teacher, there's that reality that there is that summer loss. Teachers will say if kids do not kind of keep up a little bit with learning over the summer, they come back in the fall, and there's that loss of knowledge that they gained all that last year. Maybe it's their times tables, maybe it's their reading comprehension. So to put a little focus on learning over the summer is a really, really good thing. So that's our first topic we're going to be speaking on is making the most of learning. So I'm going to ask my panel, what have you guys done in your families, or what do you propose to do during this time that we have this summer to kind of keep learning going? We don't obviously want to have full-on summer school, but how can we do it well, but also make it a little fun?
Yeah, I'll start. So my 6-year-old is the only one who is in school right now. He'll be going to the 2nd grade. And so for me, a goal is really for all 3 of my kids, at the end of summer, I want to be able to look back in really all the areas that we're going to talk about today and see that they've made progress, not regressed, whether that be in academics or character or all these different things we're going to talk about. And so with my son being school age, I'll look at areas that maybe he needs to strengthen or work on, like for instance, handwriting. And with my other kids as well, I'm going to look at certain areas that they need to work on and try to implement ways of improving on that and still incorporating education, but in maybe a way that's different than normal, during the normal school year. So for instance, with my son, handwriting and penmanship is something that we're working on, writing slower and more neatly, but rather than maybe doing like a homework assignment that looks so similar than school or homework, having him write a card to a buddy in school, or writing a card to grandma or his school teacher. I mean, what teacher wouldn't want to get a, card from one of their old students? So incorporating fun, different ways of implementing areas that might look different than the normal school. I also think with there being different ages in my family, we look for fun things that will help in both my 6, 4, and 2-year-old. So one thing that we actually implemented, and it was during COVID, during the lockdown, if you guys remember that, was we would take a piece of paper, index card if you have, and we would do the alphabet or numbers or a scripture, a verse, or the books of the Bible, something that we wanted them to learn, and we'd write it on the cards, 1, 2, 3, or, the books of the Bible in order, and then hide them. And then all 3 kids had to go on a scavenger hunt to find the cards or the pieces of paper. And so they're working on collaborating, but they're also coming back down, putting them in order. And so it was such a fun and effective way to incorporate something we wanted them to learn or memorize, like scripture or the books of the Bible, and work on it together. So it was really so many components put into one. So that was one practical thing we implemented that I think would be really useful to do at home during the summer because you don't normally have that much time during the school year to do things like that. We did during lockdown. But we're not going to be locked down this summer. Thank the Lord.
Yes.
I totally agree with what she's saying. Every summer between kindergarten and first, I know my kids have to learn how to tie their shoe. So we did shoe camp at home with mom, 5 minutes a day. And they're like, camp, you're going to stay home. But we would start on dad's shoe, and then we'd go to mom's shoe, and then we would go to their shoe. And I just knew that was a skill that they needed, because first grade teachers are like, I will tie your shoe till December or get Velcro. So that we had to do it. So that's my goal this summer with my 6-year-old is shoe camp. And then also from preschool, that summer from preschool to kindergarten, we started doing a workbook called the Bridge Workbook. And you can do it all the way up through high school. My 5th grader will be 6th grade. So this is the last summer we're requiring him to do this. He can't wait. But every 20 pages, you finish your section. So it starts you at the grade you're at, or the level of learning you're at, and it pushes you to the next level. And so that we continue. We take it to go wherever we want to go. We can take it out, but they have to do it so many times a week. But every time they hit that bonus of finishing it, then we have a little bucket of trinkets at home that they get rewarded, because you got to dangle the carrot sometimes, even at small ages. And then when they got older, they could pick like their favorite eatery. So they had to earn summer treats. So we were going to go to these fun places anyways, but I wanted to see that they like really wanted it. And then we're a reading family. So my kids love to read, and so we want to highlight that. I know sometimes you got to push that a little bit. I know, Ashley, we've talked about that. You just have to push gently. But Barnes & Noble has a reading program. Read 8 books, turn in your paper. Free book. Library has an amazing reading program. You can get coupons or...
I have to show you this because I
Yeah.
was so excited. So if you go, you can get your 100 years special edition card. So my youngest just got it, and it was so cute because she signed her little signature on the registration paper. But this is a limited edition.
So
But
fancy.
you've got other things from the program at the end, right? Because they just have to read so many books or hours.
Yeah,
I
got,
can't remember.
Like, a free Rubio's kids meal. They gave away the Irvine Zoo. You can go to a free admission for the zoo. Just free meals. I mean, we can't pass that up. But see, for my girls, since they're so spread out, last year in the summer, because the girls, that was the only time I can do like potty training. So maybe for the little ones, since it's a slower time, you can potty train and take that time. Otherwise, it's like during the school year, driving here, driving there, picking up, and you can't really have that focus time for the little ones. And then for the girls, since they're so busy with their academics and music program, I'd like to take the summer just to have quality time, whether it be in the kitchen with them or, again, sewing thing. But right now it's baking thing, because we love being in the kitchen, and they love being in the, just using their hands, making stuff. So I just allow that time just to have a little downtime. Let's just have some crafty, right-brained time. But that's still learning, right? So.
Definitely. And on the note of the OC library thing, my son did it one year and won a custom surfboard. Okay, like the prizes are legit. Sign your kids up. It's awesome. They just have to read. It's awesome. So yeah, we have like a really cool surfboard. We actually get a lot of compliments on it when we're at the beach from like legit surfers. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, if you've been at NABMO for a while, I know you've heard a lot of our teachings, and we talk about character a lot. We had Jen Gray here this semester talking about self-control. We're going to have Sharon Canavo next week talking about forgiveness. We've talked about kindness in the past. We're always wanting to instill these wonderful qualities in our children, and summertime can really be the time to like hone in on that. As moms, we should be doing it all the time. It's something we should be doing all the time, so it doesn't give us a free pass the rest of the year. But I know as a mom of now almost 15 years, life gets really busy. I mean, you're driving around, and I find a lot of times this character training is done in the moment. I'm more reactive versus proactive. We're teaching about kindness in the middle of a conflict between 2 siblings, for instance, which isn't bad, which is great. But in the summertime, there's a little more downtime, less time in the car maybe. You can actually focus on these character traits and actually really teach them to your kids. And I know these ladies have some great suggestions for that. So our second area we're going to be covering is making the most of that character training time. So who'd like to speak first on that?
I'll go. I guess it's going this way. So one thing that we love to do in our family is role playing. And again, these are things that we try to do during the normal school year, but there is a little bit more time in the summer. And just take those opportunities. We're trying to teach our kids how to act and, behaviors and manners and all these different things. And the best way to show, to teach them that is to show them how to do it. Not only in our own example, but also just practically showing them what that looks like to share. And the summer just has these opportunities to show them how to be hospitable, right? I mean, there's a lot of moms who still work during the summer. It's just opportunities to show them to be others focused, which I know a lot of us make that a focus. And so to show them, have play dates with your little kids or even babies, and go with moms that you trust and put them in a situation where you're gonna have to teach them, this is what it looks like not to push, right? This is how you respond. Maybe they don't have words yet, but you're teaching them how to communicate by showing them. Role playing is so effective and so beneficial. So that is one thing that we definitely try to do more during the summer since we have more time, is to incorporate more of, okay, we're gonna go do this. This is how we would handle the situation. This is how we look at another adult in the eyes when they're talking. Show them and act it out. So effective. Another fun thing about summer is there's, I guess depending on your school system, about 9 to 12 weeks of summer. Well, I guess that's the season, so no matter what the school year. But the fruit of the Spirit, there's 9 fruit of the Spirits. And so maybe making a theme out of each week of the summer. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. I mean, patience and self-control all the time, right? But you can go on Pinterest and look at these fun charts that give you ideas of how to incorporate that as a theme that are not only helpful for them, but they're really helpful for us too, especially the practice of, some of those things that like self-control and patience and all those things as moms. So incorporating that is really fun and effective, and just a great way to be, like Ashley said, intentional with the time that we have them during the summer, I think are great areas. And sibling relationships, although it's only one of my kids who is in school, he's home now. And so it's no longer my daughter who's the oldest during the day, it's my son. And so it's just great opportunities to build their relationships. When we spend more time together, there tends to be more bickering, which there just is always the opportunity for more training, for correcting and directing. And it's an exciting time to really pour into their character.
We are Team Barnes, and we always have been. When our kids were little, my husband and I sat down and talked about, what do we want our kids to be known by? I mean, they're going to be known by their actions, but that we want to instill in them. And so it's humility, it's compassion, and it's service. And that can be looked at in so many different ways. So that plays out when we do chores. And chores is service to your family, it's service to a team. And we serve at church. And then when we have friends who need help, even in the summer, that doesn't end. So there's still a service-minded, but chores happen. Chores still have to happen in the summer, and that doesn't go away. There's a lot to be done. So they have their standard chores. Sometimes we mix it up, and I'll say, you can do that chore, and you can do this chore, and to see kind of how their attitude comes up, because they have to check each other. So then there's some self-control words that can come out. So we're training right there, knowing this has to happen. So we're training in the moment. We're training on the days at home. I'm home on sometimes, and we're not going anywhere. We're not running out to go have fun. So now we're training if we're sharing toys or lack of sharing toys. So we're doing that. But one of the things we know with our family, because we are busy, is what is the one aspect of our day that we all come around and fight for it, and that's dinner. So for us, we have one person who sets the table. One child sets the table, one child has to wipe down the table, and one child has to sweep. And that is this, I have a 6-year-old. We've been doing, they were probably like, yay, there's another one that's coming. So we've been doing this for 6 years steady with 3, and teaching even when they were little, like how to put silverware away. She was putting silverware away at 1.5. It didn't look pretty in the drawer.
The knives too?
the knives, like not the steak knives, but like, yeah, the butter knives, because we wanted her to see this is what a team looks like. And so that's what we do. But another thing come summer, because they're all home, is summer still has to happen in terms of the same thing. So many years ago, I went on Pinterest and I was like, I need ideas of what to keep my kids, like there still has to be structure. So I tailored this list. I'll leave it on the stage. You guys can take a picture, but it's the summer rule list. And we like technology, but it can't come first. So the question, it gets taped to the kitchen door, so they see it every day, and they'll say, can I watch TV? Check your list. And so have you made your bed? Have you brushed your teeth and hair? Like some kids need prompting, right? Have you gotten dressed? No, we're getting dressed. Have you done 30 minutes of reading? Have you cleaned up one room? Have you helped someone in the family? They need to go and ask somebody, how can I help you right now? And maybe they'll say, I don't need your help right now, but later I'm gonna need your help, and you need to be available for that. Have you read your Bible or done your daily Bible reading? Even from the littles, we'll talk about reading books that point them to God. You can start that at such a small age. And then have you done that one chore that you have to do every day? So again, silverware, putting away the dishwasher, whatever it is. So then they can come to me and say, I've checked that all off. So we'll leave this on the stage for you. You can take a picture, but tailor it for your kids. You know your child. Maybe they don't need prompting to get dressed. Mine did. They still do.
So I love that, because I know some moms here don't have the older kids, and you guys have like just the toddlers just now starting to walk. And it's such a good habit to start, because when they see you, like my youngest is 3, but last year when she was 2, and then the year before that, she would watch me clean, and she just wants a little rag. So I give her a little rag, and she's just, a little bottom on the floor, just wiping. And she just saw me spray bottle. So she's like, I want one. Okay. It's like not the Clorox one, but the like the more safe one. So she called it her cleaning bottle. They learn by imitation. So if you set the older ones up for success, the little ones, that's the plan, will follow suit. So set up a good example. And sing songs with your little ones, like this is the way we washed our hands, or what, and they love that. They love that so much, and they learn through songs. So I just remember singing a lot to the little ones and just teaching them that way. Another opportunity of character building is just to serve others. So now that it's summer, not as much schoolwork. I mean, yes, we're still learning, right? But just to teach them that we can be available for others. And I know summertime's like, yay, I'm free. What can we do? What can I do? I want to do this. I want to go here. But no, let's take the time to bless others. Let's take the time to, maybe we can babysit our friends' kids, so that way their mommy and daddy can have some time on their own. And then you can have friends over at the same time. But at least you're helping and being others-oriented and a serving mindset.
I love that so much, right? Because it can get to be where in the summer the kids are like, all right, they have their own bucket list in their head. I mean, don't let them fool you. They have a bucket list in their head. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to kind of direct them and get their eyes off of themselves onto others and how we could serve others, whether that's extended family or neighbors, friends, whatever it may be. It's a great thing to start as young as possible, even just to model. I know when we bring meals to people, I would always have my kids come with me, even when they were 1, and just see us give the person the meal. Right? I mean, they didn't maybe help in it, but they witnessed that. And it's so important to do that as young as possible. So, well, we've talked about learning, we've talked about character, but summer is supposed to be fun, right? It's summer break. It's summer break, and this is their time, off from maybe the grind, I guess, as much as there can be as a kid, of their daily life. So, we need to make it fun. We do need to have fun within reason. So what have you all done in your families for fun? What is kind of your go-to? What's kind of on your bucket list, so to speak? And how have you just created memories that will last? I mean, that's really the goal, is not just to have fun, but to have fun that's going to, either be teaching and instilling at the same time, but also creating memories that they're going to be telling their kids, or maybe looking back at those photo albums of that trip, or this weekend, or even this day, whatever it is you do. So what have you done in your families that's been really successful?
I'm going. Yeah, so fun. It's true. Summer needs to be fun, and there's a way to make anything you do fun, of course. And for our family, we do try to have a small vacation or two of some sort that we always look forward to, having that downtime as a family. But one thing I know is a temptation for me, and maybe it is for you too, that I try to be intentional about, and this is really throughout the whole year, but I feel like during summer, everyone is posting about all the fun things they do, and you're like, I want to do that fun thing, and I want to go to Hawaii for 2 weeks and stay at the Grand Wailea. And so there's just this temptation to compare what you're capable of doing, whether it be your time or your financial means, to what other people are doing. And so for me, just keeping a grateful mindset of what we have the ability to do, the time we have to do something fun, and not get stuck in this rut of wanting more than we have. And so that's just something I feel like needs to be intentional for us as moms, because we can be so hard on ourselves. We can think we need to be doing fun, and so-and-so is so much more fun than me, but really just, putting up the blinders and saying, I want to make the most of summer for my family and what we're capable of doing. And you can do that in so many ways. And I will speak to those with babies and little ones. My biggest suggestion still, I don't have babies anymore, but still being in that season and so close to it, just do it. If you have friends who have olders or friends with babies too, just go do things, because it helps you get in the habit of getting out, and it helps the babies get acclimated, and they are more adaptable when you just go and do things rather than feeling like, my baby's so little, what will it matter? And I will say too, so we were at a wedding not that long ago, and they handed out these, these like small little bubbles to blow at the bride and groom, and I've kept them in my purse ever since. And I take these with me because you can take a baby anywhere with a little thing of bubbles, and it's fun for them. And if they start getting antsy in the mall or at the beach or wherever you take them, just whip out the bubbles and blow some, and it's magic. It is magic in a little bottle. You can get like 40 of them on Amazon for I think like $5 or $10. Yeah. So bubbles are fun for me. And so maybe I'm not that fun, but
I still like bubbles.
If you have a baby, get some bubbles. It's great for baby registry too. Anyways, I'll let someone else talk.
I work, so I have to structure. I love that bubble idea. My 6-year-old's like, whoa. And then the 11's like, I want bubbles, so I need to invest in bubbles in the purse. So I actually have to think about, because I work nights, I actually have to think about, can I even do that and go to work and not be tired? And maybe you have a job that is just a few hours a day, but you're like, that sounds great, but no. So I have to think my day in thirds. I think, can I do that in the morning? Can I do that in the afternoon? Can I do it in the evening? And that takes pressure off me, because I want to be that mom. That sounds great. Let's go to the beach for 5 hours. Yeah. And then I show up and I'm just not a good mom or even a coworker after that. So I'm like, I can go to the beach for 1, or go to the park at the beach, and then it's like feels like you're at the beach. So I have to just lower my expectations, and that's okay. So I do that, but we actually do that bucket list. It looks different. It does not look so Trader Joe's, but I asked my kids in May. May's coming, Monday. Every May, what do you guys want to do this summer? And it looks different every year. They've got their bucket list. I want to go to Big Air. I want to go to the Nerf party. I want to go this. Like, that sounds great. Put it on the wish list. It's not a promise, right? But I do that because sometimes I want to go out. I can't think about what to do. And so I have to be proactive. And so I do, this was from a couple years ago, but they'll say, I want to go to a beach bonfire. Okay, that's cool. Let's try to make that happen. That might mean we're getting to the beach at 6 a.m. to grab one, but we're going to make it happen because that's on your bucket list. I want to go to Chuck E. Cheese. Okay. We have gone to Grandma and Grandpa's. For years, they do camps at Grandma and Grandpa's. So we've done cooking camps with Grandma. So they go, because I know they need, as much as they don't think they need this, they need to go and be with Grandma and Grandpa. Because like my 5th grader went to camp. They went away this year. They need to be prepared to go away. So we started that at like 5. And what a great day. What a great way to be investing, grandparents investing in them. And then we're getting a break. But even just going to the beach, we went to the beach. We spent 1 year, Karen and I, we hit up like all the beaches, and we just had a standing day. This is a beach we're going. This is a time we're at. Come join us. anybody come. Just, we're going to be there, so you come too. So we make standing play dates. And then we celebrate National Ice Cream Day. I put that on the calendar. It's ice cream for dinner. Like, hello, I can be a fun mom. But I did this list because I felt like I wasn't a fun mom. Dad is fun. He's spontaneous. He's the one that wants to hit up all the national parks. And so we're doing it. And it's something. Yeah, my table knows. Like,
Rachel
I've got
loves
this
to
like
camp.
love sort of hate. When you're a child, you went camping maybe, and you're like, this is awesome. And then when you're a mom and you go camping, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much work. I have to plan this 6 months in advance. I have to buy, it's something.
But you love your husband and your kids.
I
so
love my
well.
husband because you know what? It's their summer too. Dads have summers. And so I asked him in May. Well, because he's the camper, we actually talk about it like 8 months before. It's okay. What do you want to do? Where do you want to camp? He likes to go to the beach. And so we look at the calendar, and I really try hard to say, Dad's home. So we're doing stuff that Dad wants to do today. That's so important. When we go to these national parks, my little one is a junior ranger, and she's owning it like no one's business, and she loves it. But the thing is they're doing it together. And you're watching Dad invest in talking about God's creation with his girl. You can't plan for that. You just are watching a really cool thing happen. So yeah, there's work on my end. There's going to be work on your end, whatever you plan, right? But the investment is going to come back. My teenager, so weird, has a friend that moved from the East Coast to the West Coast, and she made him a list of everything he needed to do out here. It's everything I've done with her. And I was like, you really like that. You're sharing it with your friend. And I just can step back and think, I put in all that work. I was tired. You put your emotions aside and you show up. They don't know how tired you are. You can do it. And then they start inviting their friends to these places that you've worked to enjoy. So that's fun. The other thing is we're just home. Like, there's days you have to just be home. So magnet tiles, Legos, fort building. Like, you can leave the fort up for more than a day. It's okay to not have chairs that you can sit in for 2 days. It's okay. So it's okay. Just show up and lower it, and just ask your family and just make it known it's just a wish list. So.
I love that, Rachel. It's always good to hear you. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to quickly add, because you mentioned so much about your husband and Dad, and I think sometimes as moms, especially the ones that are home, it's like we fill the day with something to do, and then we leave Dad to come home for like bath time, and we're just tapped out. And so, like you alluded to, like, be intentional to where, not every day is 8 hours at the beach when Dad's not getting the best of you and the kids, but maybe have it be Daddy
That's the last
day.
third day. That's the last third part of your day.
Yeah,
Right? Dad
right,
shows up and,
right.
hey, let's go to the creek.
Right. Being intentional that today's going to be fun Daddy day, and we're going to stay home, we're going to clean, and then we're going to, just make it intentional to where we should always put on your best, of course, for our husbands, but just keep mindful of that during the summer, because we're the ones home, and then Dad comes home and you're like, can you bathe them? And then the sand falls out, and
I like that, though. Like, you're carving what your family needs and wants. Like, some might like the camping. Some might like just being at home, doing local things. Like last year, we were able to take a vacation. Maybe this summer, we're going to be home and just enjoy local things. Like, every year, my girls just remember Balboa Island. We go there. It's a 30-minute drive to Newport Beach. You can take the ferry, get some ice cream, get a pizza, and they have a great time. Then they're like, oh, when are we going to go again? I'm like, we just went yesterday. So it's just local fun, whether it be at Irvine Park, or you can go to the zoo. I think there is the Irvine Park, and there's a zoo there. There's Zoo Mars down in San Juan, Baby Beach for the little ones where the waters are super calm. Neighbor's house, just maximize your friends here. You guys got a tribe at your own table. Maybe have a little summer play date at the local park. Anything can be fun if you just make it. It doesn't have to be an extravagant vacation in Maui for those who have went. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I love those ideas, and also just like you touched on, Rachel, like allowing them to kind of, you're gonna have a down day. I always say like the laundry fairy doesn't come in the summer. Like things still have to get done, and so just to let them be bored. Recently, my boys were bored, and they came to me and said, "We're bored," and I said, "Great, go find something to do." And they found an Amazon box, which are easy to come by in my home, and they poked 2 holes in either side and opened the one side, and then they'd put items in, and the other person would have to reach in and guess what it was. And this lasted hours. I mean, it was hours of fun. They were in the office playing this for hours. It's a great thing to just let them be bored. And don't even suggest what they should do. They need to come up with it on their own. You know, they need to come up with it on their own, because that's always the best time. And it's great sibling bonding time too. But there's a lot of ways to have fun. By the way, just mentioning, you guys have a resource sheet you can take home. It has a lot of these ideas, some websites and things on it. So hopefully that's helpful as well, because summer should be fun. It should
There's
be fun.
another website we were talking about, Karen.
It's called Plan a Day Out. So a mom just puts all these things together. You can list area and put the radius. How far do you want to go? And then she'll list everything that's going on that day. So planadayout.com.
Well, you know, summer does have like that laid back feel, like we've been talking about, but it's important to put focus on the things that are important. And I think we would be missing out if we didn't talk about putting focus on godly things, on our spiritual disciplines and things like that. So that's our fourth topic we're going to be talking about, is making the most of the godly things. In summertime, it can seem a temptation to kind of, you know, kick back and just take a break. You know, the kids are out of school, soccer's over, everything else. But what does that mean for church? What does that mean to investing in our children spiritually and into the godly things, and also investing in our church? What does that look like for you guys over the summer? Does that change? Does it heighten? What does that look like for you?
We're keeping with the theme here. Okay. Yeah, so of course we don't want our kids to grow up seeing a theme that during the summer we no longer go to church or talk about God or see mom reading her Bible. For us, we're at church all the time, if anything. I mean, between the camps they have here and the women's Bible study that they have during the summer, it stays the same, if not is more heightened. And so, but one thing I think that is really good to consider, and that we do as a family during the summers when maybe we're traveling more than we usually are, and it makes such an impression on the kids, whether they're 1 or 10, is if you're vacationing or you're visiting grandma in another city and you're there on a Sunday, or there is some type of event that you can go to during the week at another church, go to it. You know, when we visit my family up north, when we are there on a Sunday, we go to a good Bible teaching church there. So our kids don't think that just because we're visiting Grammy and Papa that we don't go to church. No, church is a priority, no matter whether we're in Southern California, in South Orange County or not. So I think that really brings an impression on them, and is just good for our mindsets as we go into summer and we plan our schedules and our days. Even, you know, if you go to the beach all day on a Saturday, there's no excuse to be too tired to go to church on Sunday, right? So just being mindful and keeping it a priority. And then, of course, just our disciplines. Keeping with those spiritual disciplines, you know, reading our Bibles daily allows for our kids to be a part of that and to do their own part too, to grow in their knowledge of the Word. But also it allows such an opportunity to start to implement things that might seem a little bit more daunting to implement during a really busy season. So trying to sit down and think, where am I trying to grow more spiritually, or what am I trying to do more? Maybe I'm just simply trying to read my Bible every day, and make that in a point and stick to it. So come the fall, when the busyness comes on, we've just built a habit. Where they say it takes 12 days to build a habit, or you've got 9 weeks to build a habit, right? So build the habit and then maintain it during the school year is huge. And then also just some fun things for the really little kids. There's just some books that I brought. You can find these in the bookstore, but I've been reading these to my kids since they were little. And of course, depending on your kid's age, it's different in what they can retain and understand. But the repetition, they learn so much so young, and they're really helpful for us too. I've learned so much from the simplicity of the way they have these things stated. And then these are especially sweet too. So one is like Big Thoughts for Little People, the ABCs to help you grow. And so I have a couple other ones that I'll leave up here that are similar to this, to where it's an attribute of God, but it's so sweet because I'm able to use this for all 3 of my kids, 6, 4, and 2, And with my youngest being 2, when he's learning the alphabet, when he learns the letter A, which he now knows, he thinks of God as amazing. And then he knows Abraham, because we're learning kind of these different people within the Bible and characteristics of God. And so he associates the alphabet with C for Christ and Creator. And so that's such a fun way for even a 2-year-old, which we've been doing that with him since we've been able to read to him, which I've always been able to read to him. So from the start, and it's really to see that progress they make, and us too, as we dive into these books with them and maintain keeping church a priority.
I think I've learned the most from those kids' books.
It's true.
Yeah.
I know. From the beginning, like, oh man, it's like a mirror. I know. Well, I love that you talked about when they were little, because now we have a little one, but she got to see what the older ones are doing, right? So then they can actually come alongside her sometimes, which is fun. But because the summer is what I have, the kids are home, it actually takes away the excuses of busyness. And so there should be no excuse of us going to church, right? Okay, we'll go to the beach and then we'll go to church. But we also have the older ones. And so this summer I'm going to take my older one through the Bible survey for kids. I'll leave it up here. And it just takes them through the books of the Bible and what's it about. And then a smaller one is, hold on, I'm here, but just little books about going through each of the books of the Bible. So I'm taking that time and I'm talking with them and just hearing their thoughts on it, right? So for my little one, we're going to go through Pilgrim's Progress, which is just a read aloud and one of my favorite books. When you're out in creation, you're talking about God. Like he made this all. And then talk about it and Google it. Google is your friend to learn about the bugs and the animals. But then once they're older, they don't get to come to the camps in the summer, so they can serve in the camps. And it gives them a chance to look past themselves, and that's great. But then also, for me, I try to read a book for myself to grow as a mom, as a wife, as just closer to understanding who God is. Like, I do that for me. And then if the kids know I'm in the chair with my coffee and I'm having a quiet time, it looks different in the summer. I have to fight for it a little bit more because they're home and they're talking. So they just have to know I'm here, just wait. So it instills patience too. So I just think about that's my time also to grow.
Yeah, I love that in summer that we still have women's Bible study at least once a month. I need that accountability. I need that fellowship. And, we're created for that time to bond. And I'm just thankful for that. And even for kids, they yearn to be growing and learning. And that's why summer camp, they have such good lessons there, where they're about like little truths, or big truths, that the little minds can capture, like God is eternal, God is real, God is sovereign. And that's why I'm just so thankful that summer camp, that's our week that we slayed out and we work around our summer to make sure the kids are still learning and still growing and keeping knowledge of who God is throughout summer and all year round, that is, too.
Well, that's excellent, ladies. Like they said, they brought some resources here. We're going to set up here on the stage. You can come and snap a picture. A lot of these books are available in our Compass bookstore if you want to visit that afterwards. But we are out of time. But I want to thank you all for just listening today. Like we said when we opened, we have this short period of time with our children. We have those 18 summers we have with our children. So let's try to be intentional with that time. Our children are on loan to us from God. They are gifts from God. And so what we do with them is so, so important. And this little smidget of extra time can make all the difference. So we hope that you gleaned so much from today and have a great table time discussion. Thank you.